Hi, book club members. I'm Jen.
And I'm Carrie.
And this is Warhammer 40k Book Club, where we read from a crag. This is episode number 155, and our book is
Oh,
Baneblade,
here's mine.
which I
No, look.
read
See?
on. Ooh,
Ooh.
that's nice. I read mine on my phone. By Guy Haley. This is an old book from the Wayback Machine. Is what, 12 years old now? I think it's actually one of his first books for the Warhammer 40k catalog, and it tells the story of a crew of a Baneblade. You probably inferred that from the description. We posted several questions on our website, WH40kbookclub.com, and we encourage participation in our conversations via YouTube, our site, or Encrypted Vox channel. Spoiler warning, if you haven't yet listened to or read this book, definitely do before listening to this podcast, as we'll be discussing the book from start to finish in great detail. With that, let's dive in. As always, Carrie, did you like the book?
I loved it. Really did.
I really loved this book. This was actually a book chosen for us by our Discord members. So huge thanks to the people who really pushed for us to read this one.
Yeah, I think it was Reclusiarch who's been hounding us to read this, but I could be wrong, and I'm sorry if I guessed the wrong Discord user, but whoever is either Reclusiarch or Raptor, whoever it was, they've been hounding us to read this forever, to put it on the way back forever. So glad we finally did.
Yes, you were correct in your recommendation. So thank you very much for that. Yeah, I loved this book, and I can't explain why, but maybe somebody out there who has also seen this movie will get what I'm saying. One of my favorite grossly underrated movies is Master and Commander: Far Side of the World. If you've ever seen this movie, again, 10 out of 10 no notes, as the kids say. It's wonderful. I don't know why, but for some reason this book definitely was reminiscent of it. I mean, I can actually explain why and as we start going into conversations, but it stroked that same part of my brain, and it made me very happy. What part stood out to you, Carrie?
Oh man, there was so much that did. This book tapped into one of my stupid fears that I've had since a child about falling into quicksand. So, I was just convinced when I was a child that quicksand was everywhere and it was out to get me no matter where I went.
I was way more prepared for quicksand than real life actually demanded. Same. I actually thought that it was going to be oh, this is a thing.
I was going to be walking in the woods behind my house and that would be it. That'd be it. Yeah. So it, it kind of tapped into that. But honestly, probably the thing that created a visceral reaction was when they saw the shadow sword and they see what's left of Brasslock tied to it. It's oh, that is so undignified. What an awful.
Brasslock deserved better.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that he wasn't dead. I honestly thought that he was. They had basically hollowed him out and was making him, run this. So I was happy that he wasn't, but it's just oh my God. Sometimes the orcs, especially the weird boys, man. He's just, it's just awful. The whole, if you ever need to see how awful can the orcs be? That's not on the funny side. Well, here you go.
We're going to talk a lot about that.
And, Banick's past. I really liked how Guy Haley, you probably put this in one of the questions too, how Guy Haley put it in reverse order, his past. So, do you have a question on that? I actually have not looked at the questions. I'm not prepared for this podcast.
I actually don't, but I'm glad you brought it up. Because you are 100% correct. The narrative structure in this book did a lot of heavy lifting for the story.
Yeah. Because when we got to, I think it was near the end, but when you find out that Banick, because you knew from the beginning that he had killed Tuperilio, and he felt great shame, but you didn't know why he felt great shame. But when you get to the part where he's looking down at the body, and Tuperilia's second is like, you killed him after he won. I was like, ah, crap, we got a Ragnar Blackmane situation going on here. He just got angry, the fact of losing a duel for once. And then you get to the last chapter of that and find out that's not what happened. And it honestly made me even feel so sorry for Banick. Like, he really had nothing to be shamed for, but he still felt that shame anyway because he didn't bring any witnesses. That was his mistake. Because then yep. Because he was like, I don't even want to do this. Like, why are we doing this? And he didn't even realize that, oh my gosh, you're not even prepared. You don't know how to do this. This never would have been sanctioned. But yeah, it's just kind of made everything the more tragic. But at the same time, I can't help but feel that Banick is in the place that he needed to be at the same time. Like, the fact that the reverence he feels for the tanks when he's looking at them, when he's, running off with, when Callaghan's like, hey, you want to go do this little errand with me? And he's just before the tanks like, oh my God, this is how it's supposed to be. And he's touching the tanks and trying to commune with the machine spirit. It's like, this is where you're supposed to be. Not on a planet, with your arranged marriage and getting fat and rich. This wasn't what you're supposed to be.
Let's jump over to that. Because I did have a question about, was his shameful sin that shameful? And so one of the things that I really hate in books is when a character has like this, oh, I brought great shame on my family. And then it comes out, like, you get to the scene that reveals it. Movies do this a lot too, right? They'll reveal what the shame was. And you're like, that's it, huh?
Like, and?
Right? Like, oh, somebody needs to put on their big girl panties and get on with their life. This played out very nicely. And as you said, I think if Guy Haley would have just told the story from start to finish, if anybody has seen the movie Weapons recently, Weapons is one of those things that has a very simplistic story, but because of the way that they choose to bounce back and forth through the narrative, it actually makes it really effective. And I think the way that he unfolded Banick's past actually worked really well for it. And it did so much of, like, as you said, you're like, oh, I know what's going. No, I don't know what's going on here. Mm-hmm. The more and more you get into it. But I think you're 100% correct. And I think that's actually one of the really neat masterful turns for this is that I absolutely believe things happen for a reason in the 40k universe. And the reason was that you needed to be here with this Baneblade.
Till the bitter end.
So then, was he a good commander? Did he deserve the Baneblade?
I don't know about deserving the Baneblade, but at the same time, he has all the bearings of, like, Volpone glory, right? Of the sorry, that's the name of the book, of the Volpone. Like, I deserve this. I'm higher up. I'm just better than you. I'm rich. Like, he didn't have to go through the grunt ranks, right? He comes out of the Schola and he's immediately a lieutenant without having to do anything at all. I'm sorry, I refuse to say lieutenant. Refuse. Find me the F.
Point to me where the F is.
Where's the F? So he's already boosted up to be a lieutenant. He gets to be a commander of a tank. That's crazy. To just be bounced up from that. You have all these privates underneath you who's never served before, never commanded. And here's a tank. Have fun. And so, yes, that tank gets destroyed. Well, he won his first battle. Then his tank gets destroyed. But then he immediately goes to another tank, and when he discovers that their commander is dead, he takes over and just acts on instinct. Like, yes, he is the very definition of a commander. And the fact that he was, like, in a sense, demoted to third gunner, but he's on a Baneblade, he's just like, this is, like, the best thing ever. Not only am I on a Baneblade, but I'm serving underneath my hero. Like, this is amazing. And he kind of fell into that role. He never fought back, which, again, he could have had that air about him. He was like, I'm a lieutenant. I don't answer to you. And he just took everything. He was just like, yes, I understand. I get it. I have to prove myself. It's fine.
A little bit of humility and a little bit of it made him much more likable,
Yep.
certainly, as a character. And more...
Even when he made mistakes, it made him likable.
Very much so. Um, I... I don't know how to say this, but like I do. I guess the best way to say this is that I get very weary about redemption stories. And yep, nope, this was a pretty good textbook case of somebody, as you said, starting out really high, falling, but then learning all of the right lessons. And in the end, it just makes him this super like. So then, as his story is unfolding, right, as we're seeing this very humble, wanting to learn, wanting to be better, wanting to be part of this thing, as the story unfolds, it makes him this really great, well-rounded character.
Yes.
I did like him.
I liked him a lot.
What about the rest of the Baneblade crew? Did you like them? Were any of them... Did you not like any of them? Were they compelling? Were they fun?
I didn't like the tech priest, but that's not a shock. The tech priest, almost like, aside from the fact he's a tech priest, that just creeps me out. The fact he was acting the way that the Cadians were in Steel Tread, just like Heineken, I don't like you. So I could think of, if anyone's seen that Jim Brewer skit, he's just like, I don't like you. Which then that happens, right? We all find people like,
Totally.
we don't know why, like, I don't like you and I don't understand it, but I just don't. But the fact that he was like, no, I have to kill you because you're going to kill all of us, like off of a tarot reading, my dude, like, we all have to work together is my problem also, like with the Cadians. The biggest beef with that whole book was the fact that that woman got away with nearly killing her commanding officer. There's a reason for that, because she knew that she couldn't break morale or anything. But the fact that there's this woman there who believes that she was in the right to do what she almost did is insane. And the same thing with this tech priest, that they can't, I mean, yeah, what you've done is insane, but we kind of need you, so we're not going to do anything. So I'm glad he went down with the ship, so to say, because there's no way he could have been trusted ever to run with anybody else, especially not Banick. And he would have lost it hearing Banick's promotion.
Oh my gosh, yes, for sure.
He'd have been like, no, it's his fault that the Baneblade died. And even though, like, you know, when Cortine had told Banick that Brasslock said, Mars Triumphant's ready to die. Like, it's time for it to go. Like, this is going to be its last mission, one way or the other.
Right.
But there's no way that he would have... I can never pronounce his name, and I heard it so many times in the audiobook, but I cannot pronounce his name. But no matter how many times, even if Brasslock had told him that, he never would have accepted it.
Oh, for sure not.
For
sure
not.
not.
Well, the reason why he's ready, Mars ready to die, is because this kid's here.
Right. He was definitely that. And I do like... Okay, so I didn't like his character, but I like when we get to see the human side of tech priests. And what I mean by that is that they're every bit as fallible and
petty.
Like, underneath that core of the logic engines and stuff like that, they're still human. They're still human. So you can strip out a lot of their emotion, like their outward emotion, but they still have that core of humanity. And so that's the best way to say that, is just that he just didn't like Banick. Mm-hmm. He just didn't. And he never was going to. And there was nothing that that Banick could really do. And so it was a little bit of satisfaction. In the end there, I was like, meh. But I think you're absolutely correct. He absolutely would have just stuck to his guns there. I don't think there was anything Banick could have done to have convinced him.
Banick could have saved his life time and time over. And he would have been like, the only reason why my life is in danger is because you were here. Because that's what the tarot says. So.
Right. Which, that in and of itself is somewhat interesting.
Yes.
Because the tarot, to me,
that's way too much a spiritual for a tech priest.
Right? Like when you talk about logic engines and being logical and, evaluating all of this, like they're doing complex math about every situation they encounter. But that tarot though, again, it's a shockingly human side of a tech priest.
Yep. But there's plenty of, like, I liked Ganlick a lot. I liked Radin.
Loved Radin.
I was sad to find out that he died in the end anyway. It's like, oh man, he didn't deserve that. I loved it when the Baneblade sank down and Banick's like, oh God, like, what am I going to do? And it sank and it's like one of the best things ever. And it's gone and it makes its way out and Radin pops out. It's like, bet you thought we were dead, right? Like, we're fine. Like, okay, sure.
I really liked him. I thought the crew was good. I thought the crew I thought that Guy Haley did a really good job of making it feel like a crew.
Yeah.
Right? That was one of the complaints, and I think it was mostly because of, and I can't even think of her name now, but yes, the character who tries to kill the commander in Steel Tread. That was part of the plot of Steel Tread, was that crew didn't really
They weren't going to accept also. That was the big thing, was they weren't going to accept a non-Cadian.
Correct. But they also were clearly struggling to function as a crew, right? Like as a healthy, like, hey,
right.
We're all in this together sort of crew. A Baneblade is such a massive piece of machinery. It's basically an office building on its side, right? Like a small office building. And so the fact that I think if you would have had like too much of that like type of Steel Tread, petty squabble stuff, it would not have felt as real as it did. Really liked the way that everybody ironed together. Going back a step though, let's talk a little bit about the Baneblade, because we saw this in Steel Tread, right? We got to see a little bit of that heavy armor warfare. But this book, I feel like this book really dived into what it's like to be on a Baneblade, what the armor division looks like. Did you like it? Was it fun? Did you enjoy that part of the book?
I did. I actually even enjoyed the prologue where it had the big, ritual of finishing the Baneblade and blessing despair. I was like, this is actually kind of interesting in a way that I was like, I would love to see this animated, to be honest. That was my first thought. I would love to see that whole scene animated, because I kept thinking about, some of the awesome scenes out of Space Marine 2 when you see like the servitors like pulling stuff into place and you see the gigantic Titan in the background. It's like, I would love to see this kind of stuff animated, because I was even telling my husband, I was trying to describe the Baneblade to him. And I was like, yeah, like I'm trying to envision how big this thing really is. And so I was asking questions about tanks. Like, have you ever been in a tank? And he was like, yes. And I'm like, are they roomy? He goes, no. He's like, I don't fit in one. My husband's 6'4". He's like, tank drivers usually cannot be taller than 5'6", because of how they have to fit in there. I was like, oh, well, there's like 8 people in this crew and there's bunks. And he was like, is this thing like 12 feet tall? I'm like, maybe. But I mean, like, I was telling him, I was like, I would actually like to go to the Warhammer store and look at the models, so I could get like let's look at a reference here for like the Baneblade and versus like the Lehman Russ or the Salamander tanks. I'm just very curious, like size wise. And he's like, I can't believe they would make something that big. And I said, really? I've showed you the picture of the Titans, the one with the walking church, with the church on its back. Like, it's all fun and games till the church starts walking. Like, like, there's a guy has like a freaking city on his back. Do we know how that works? How it can possibly function? Do plates stay still on a walking Titan? Probably not, but it's fun. There's a giant church on a Titan's back.
Okay, so I had to Google this really quickly. Let's see, because I knew that they were very big, but stand back, everyone. We're going to have to convert meters to freedom units. So they are 13.5 meters long, which...
Okay, that's not that long.
Just so I'm making sure that we have this correct here. So 44 feet. that's a 4-story building on its side.
So when I shoot at the archery range, I shoot at 18 meters. That's not very far.
And it's 20 feet tall. So it's about a 4, like if you were to take 4-story building on its side, 2 stories high. So, because I remember, I looked this up years ago because I cannot remember which book it is right now. I'm sure somebody remembers off the top of their head, but one of the Gaunt's Ghost books, when Saint Sabbat comes back, one of the first miracles she performs is she basically cuts the gun off of a Baneblade with a sword. And it's incredible. But what I was looking, when they were describing this scene, I'm like, how the hell big is a Baneblade? So it's about a 4x2 stories tall, because anything but the metric system. And so that's a pretty big. I mean, if you think about that, that's pretty big.
Oh, I knew it was going to be big. I guess I have a hard time seeing that 13.5 meters is very big.
Because what is a football field? It's 160 wide, right?
Well, a football field is 100 yards.
Right, okay. Yeah, you can fit a few of them on a football field.
I guess it's like, it's the
anything but the metric system.
But it's like just the height. Like it's got to be pretty tall for the fact that they have like 8 people in there and they have bunks. Like, I'm not imagining that these are like roomy, cushy rooms or anything. No. I'm imagining them kind of being like the hammocks on a pirate ship. But still.
How tall, like in the inside, how tall is a sub?
Not tall enough for me, I'll tell you that. Because I would never be in one.
That's 100%.
You're never closing the hatch with me in it.
Nope. Nope. I have been on a submarine, but not like when it's obviously when they close it and you're just like, no, absolutely not. There's no, just going down the ladder that's a hard no. I think, let's see, with a beam of 33 feet. Yeah, about 30. It's saying about 35 feet tall. A ballistic missile submarine. So it's actually so this is a little bit shorter than that, but I mean, you could still get, I think you're probably right. Probably along the, like, we just spent way too much time to figure out the internal measurements of a Baneblade, but
well, yeah,
it does help
because they also
scale.
Talk about that they have like a salamander inside. They can just go hop in and go drive around. It's like, this just sounds crazy.
Oh yeah. I mean, it really is just like an office building that's just kind of moving,
it's
right?
Like a giant cruise ship on land.
A small cruise ship.
It's
smaller than a cruise ship.
Like a riverboat cruise ship.
Right. Like an old Mississippi paddle boat.
That's right.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And so now I'm going to imagine that, the good ship Lollipop going through. But this is where I think there were so many scenes in this book that really reminded me of like a combination of All Quiet on the Western Front and Master and Commander Far Side of the World, where he just spent a lot of time talking about what it would be like to be in a Baneblade and just the minutia of being in a Baneblade in war and how really awful it is, right? Mm-hmm. How many casualties you take, how, like, all of the things that they have to consider and all the chain of command and everything. It felt almost like a slice of life of this very specific portion of the 40k universe. We really have an idea of like the Astra Militarum regiments, but this was a really nice, oh, hey, by the way, this is what one of the holy god machines would look like on the inside. Mm-hmm. And this is all of these little, it was very claustrophobic in places, but I really liked just getting this better, I don't really know how else to describe it other than just this like, yep, this is how this would operate and this is how it would run. And it's very, Chris Raitt does this a lot with when he talks about Terra, right? And he talks about just, oh, by the way, if one ship is late for like by a day, several million people starve. Like, this is how, or when he went into like a big dissertation on how vellum right? How they get
Oh my God,
vellum.
right? Yeah.
Right. But I actually really like those sort of slice of life things. And man, did Guy Haley capture this in this.
Agreed.
Which the unfortunate thing was that this book is older. So when we read Steel Tread technically was like okay, I will take what he did and I'm going to expand upon this. But I kept making all these Steel Tread comparisons in my head.
Yeah,
Like,
but they're so different though. I was able to really, I wouldn't say that they're like, I wouldn't say Steel Tread like copied off of Guy Haley or whatever. But no, they just had different views on tank commanders, because now we have like the tank of all tanks.
I just like a Baneblade. I mean, there's a lot of things, and like you were just talking about the Titans when the church starts walking. There's a lot of heavy armor in the 40k universe that just strikes my fancy. I like the knights. I think the knights are super cool, right? The Titans are neat to me, but I love the Baneblade. Do they have a Baneblade at the Warhammer Citadel?
I don't know, but I know that they have one of the great Titans with the church on its back, because I've seen that one, because it's freaking huge.
It is, it's a lot of plastic.
Yes.
It's in that one glass case, right?
Mm-hmm. It is in a glass case, yes.
The one, well, because they have the two where they have all that stuff in it, and then they have a few other ones, and it's in the one that's on that wall, right?
Yep.
I think it was last time I saw it there. That was a really cool one. Do they make a Baneblade figure? That's a really stupid question, but
they would have to.
They have to, right?
I would think.
Now I want a Baneblade.
I
bet
know,
it's
right?
very cheap.
Like, maybe I couldn't mess that thing up with my painting.
Oh my God. It's all gray. It's all gray here. Sorry. Focusing. Let's move to the orcs, shall we? Did we like the orcs in this book? Are they fun? Are they scary? Are they a bit of both?
These are scary orcs.
These are scary orcs. That was the only thing about this book, by the way. Like, it felt maybe a little bit dated, because not dated like in a bad way, but like you can tell that this was sort of before we started really looking at the orcs and playing around with them. Or maybe it was just because it was from a human perspective that they were like, oh, no. These things need to be terrifying.
Well, what really got to me, though, was that I know that we've discussed it, but this is the first time I ever saw it in writing, where they talk about how all orcs have psychic energy. Because it's something that, especially our friend Ross, we've talked about. He's like, they're the most powerful psychers. And where he's like, because they even talk about how these machines shouldn't work. Well, why do the red ones go faster? It's because of their psychic.
They believe it does.
They believe it does. And you think about, like, if you look at the mechanics behind a rock, I mean, please.
Oh my God.
That is powered by hopes and dreams of the orcs.
Everything of theirs is. The Gargonauts are.
Right.
Like, most of their guns are. It's all powered by belief, right? Or like their purple camo. Yeah. This book really does delve into that. I liked how
it put that on, that it really is like, yes, they actually are psychically attuned. That's why they're able to do all these things. Like, yes, it's something that we've discussed, we've all talked about. This is the first time I've ever seen it in writing, because again, I don't read the codices. I'm sure it's in the Xenos codices. I don't know. But I thought that was interesting. I also liked when Green Eye was, when he was like trying to be triumphant, and then he developed fear, and it talked about where that fear came from. And it basically hinted, again, this book, we had another book that did this too, hinted about their old enemy being the Necrons.
Right. Green Eye, in general, was a fun protagonist.
Mm-hmm. Antagonist.
I just said protagonist, didn't I?
Yeah, you said protagonist.
I did say protagonist. Sorry. He's a fun antagonist. I really like the Weird Boys in general, but I feel like most of the books we've read, the Weird Boys are kind of off being weird.
Except for that one. We did read one where he was one pulling everybody's strings.
Yes, that was was that the Big Daka or War Boss? I think that was
It
War
was War
Boss.
Boss.
I'm looking back at my Mike Brooks books.
No, I think it was War Boss. I really do.
I think it was War Boss. Yeah. And so that was a good one where apparently I'm dying.
You know, seasons changing.
Tis the season. It's the start of school season. So, you know, every germ in the country is being brought home. That I liked the War Boss in that one. He was actually very, now that I think about it, he was very similar to Green Eye because he was very cunning and crafty and maybe thinking a little bit above his station. And by his station, I mean just being what is supposed to be a mindless orc. Again, and I know I keep saying this, but I'm just fascinated by orc characters who are thinking at that higher, more cerebral level. And
well,
it makes
especially
sense
since
when it's a weird boy.
He's like, I totally manipulated this War Boss. The only reason why we're here is because I want the crystals.
Which that's alarming.
Which honestly, it made me think of the Simpsons episode where they come across Jane Goodall, who's using the gorillas to mine diamonds.
Are you saying that Simpsons did it? I mean, you know, memes. Everybody memes.
Right.
Yes, I forgot about that episode. Oh my god, I do like a good thoughtful orc, and I do like the weird boys because we get to see a little bit more about how that wild magic just flows through them. It reminds me very much of the concept of wild magic from D&D, right? Where there's a little bit of control, but not the type of control that we would think of.
Well, and I don't remember which orc book it was, but the protagonist was talking about how he rarely ever saw weird boys last very long. He's like, we knew to stay away from them, but they would end up just burning themselves out. Like you would just see them get like up, you know, kind of like Psyduck. Pokemon just builds up too much and then he just lets it go. It's just a psychic explosion.
Yes. I feel like that was a Mike Brooks book too.
Oh, probably
but
was.
Yes.
I mean,
absolutely. When they talk about how they're kind of like a battery that gets overcharged because they don't understand really they kind of understand, but they also don't understand. And then like, there's not a lot of restraint there. Right. So it's like blood magic. You just want more and more and more of that power. And then eventually you just like confetti.
Mm-hmm.
Green fungusy confetti.
And blood.
But I do like, I love our fun orcs. I love the silliness of the orcs, but I do like it when they're scary too. My one thing about this, and this is why I say it felt a little bit dated, is that sometimes when you read books where the orcs are scary, you can kind of see how this conversation or scene went on the orc side, right? Mm-hmm. Like you're like, oh, I don't remember what book we just recently read, but there were a couple of Gretchens that were like fighting over a sniper rifle, and it's meant to be kind of like, what the hell are they doing? But you can immediately start plugging in with a conversation must sound like between them. And I didn't get as much of that from this book where I'm like, oh, I can see exactly how this was going on their side. And it was probably funny.
They did have, there was a one because it was when they were in the cavern and they were noticing some and there were like some that were fighting over this. And there's some that were just looking over there like, whatever, and went back to what they were doing. I was like, oh, I could totally tell you what's being said.
Yeah, that's true. Everything with the crystals, man. Were the crystals, was that a fun element? Did you like that?
Well, I kept wondering, like, what resources does this planet have? Because I can't find any reason why that they would be here fighting for this planet. Because they even talked about how there's no resources, there's not much food. I did like the entry about don't try the salad.
Yeah, that was funny.
But it was like, okay, so there has to be something. Is there like, I'm thinking like Space Marine. Is there a Titan factory here? Like, what is it? It's like, oh, it's crystals that the Psychers need. Okay, that makes sense. And what better place to make crystals than a sand planet?
Right. Right.
At least it wasn't
I feel like,
spice, right? Yes.
yeah, thank God. Um, I do feel like that is one of the games of a lot of these books. And I'm not saying this is a bad thing, right? But it is always like, how many books have we seen where they're defending a planet or they're attacking a planet, and even the characters are like, what is here? Why are we here? Is it, a secret lab? Is it a secret resource? This one at least made sense with the crystals, and I did like that. But I was kind of waiting for the initial part of the book, like, what is here? What is on this planet that makes it worthwhile? And that is the answer to it.
Yeah, especially since they got to use the crystals, back against them. That was kind of fun. And I also really, really, really enjoyed the part where Banick he's dropped down in the cavern. He's just realized that Ganlik is dead, which made me very sad. And also, the way Ganlik died also kind of taps into one of my irrational fears with suffocation. No.
Yeah. No. I'm with you on that 100%.
Yeah. So, but when he sees Tuperillo's ghost and he runs, and then Ollie finds him and then gives him, Ganlik's talisman. He's like, oh, does this get rid of the ghost? He goes, no, you just can't see them anymore, but they'll always be with you. It's like, well, that's a horrible thought, but but actually, what we now know about Tuperillo, though, kind of makes sense. He would be just haunting him in the afterlife.
Yep. Haunting him, or I don't know, was he a real ghost, or was he the idea of him being a real ghost, or just the guilt?
Why not? And also, if there's that warp energy, right? That this is his guilt, what manifesting, right? We talk about the emotions. Could be a little bit of both.
Honestly, could be a bit of both.
I mean, so they're still there. It's just you just can't see it anymore. It would make perfect sense either way, or both.
It really would. This is my, I think I've done this like a dozen times, but if you have not read The Wicked and the Damned, there is a wonderful...
you should.
Yes, you should. I think Phil Kelly writes it too. There is a wonderful Japanese style ghost story.
Is it the story on the ship?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yep, that was a good one.
Yep, it's a good book because it has 3 horror stories which all do
tie together
different type of horror genre.
Yes.
And it works very well. The first one by Josh Reynolds is very psychological horror. The third one by David Annandale this is going to shock everybody, but body horror. And he is really good at written body horror too, by the way. Shame about on that note. Go see Together if you're into body horror. But that ghost story in the middle there is so nice. And that is one of those things that... Speaking of the Warhammer horror line, do you remember when that was a thing? Does anybody else remember? Jen remembers. Jen is not happy. That is one of the parts of the 40k universe, especially with the warp, that I feel as though should be more explored, especially in that horror line of ghosts. Are they real? Is it the warp messing with your mind? Because either way, I'm here for it.
Is it?
And you're 100% real that he would be the guy who would be like, oh my God, I can haunt him. This is amazing.
Or is it that with that in the warp, with your emotions, affecting the warp, does that call his spirit in? And he's just like, oh, I get to go haunt this guy because he's guilty? Awesome. I will totally be there for that.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Because yes, that's what especially with this,
especially since they do call it the Sea of Souls, right?
They do call it the Sea of Souls. It could be literally that guy is out there, right? Or it could just be, as you said, that Banick's guilt over this and shame over this has basically created something in the warp. Because that's a theme that we see all the time in the 40k universe, is that the emotions and this idea of something, right? What book was that where they were suggesting that the Tau were even starting to have a bit of a presence in the warp because their greater good concept. They're manifesting.
Oh, that would have to have been a Fahravari book.
No.
No?
No. I want to say it was War of Secrets, maybe? It was a book that had the Tau in it.
Okay.
Somebody tell me if I'm high. And maybe it was a Peter Fahravari book, but I don't think it was. I want to say we read that one a while ago. And it was that...
Well, we did read that a while ago.
We did read that one a while ago. I want to say it was War of Secrets.
Who knows? I don't... I remember a lot of things about that book, but not some of those finer details.
Yeah, I wanted to say that was that. But that was... I always liked that because it was a neat concept, right? Of like, oh, ooh, we're manifesting stuff in the warp. It's really great. But anyways, I did... That was the scene that stuck out to me too, especially with his charm of, no. They'll always be with you. Thanks. Which also makes it sound like it's baggage that you carry with you in the warp.
I'm not going to close my eyes again, but other than that, we're good.
All right, so I have to ask, there's the second book in the series.
Oh, I so want to read it.
Same. I think it's just called Shadow Sword too, and I think it's just told from it's from that, which
it's still Banick, but now he's an honored lieutenant.
That's right. And I think I was just reading about this the other day on Reddit. I think they said that there's a short story called Iron Harvest or something like that that also takes place with this, but there's not a third book. Apparently, they realized that Guy Haley was like talented. And they should put him on stuff like the Dark Imperium. Yeah. Perhaps, but I am so down. When we have another, like, there's nothing new coming out moment, I definitely want to read this one. And hope that it doesn't disappoint me as much as the Dark Coil.
We just won't discuss that.
We will just discuss Firecast. I have to say though that Firecast so far is definitely still like in my top book of the year, but this one has skyrocketed right next to it.
Yeah, see, I also got 15 hours up in there too though. That one really affected me. It's kind of sad that we're not mentioning any books that published this year.
I know. Well, I'm sorry. I mean, The Silent King. I'll see myself out.
I wish I had a cricket sound effect.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you are correct. It's a little unfortunate that we're just now getting to some of these older books that they're like really good and stuff. This is a shameless plug though for the Discord channel. I know that Carrie says at the end of every podcast, come join our Discord, but definitely give us suggestions for more way back books, because stuff like this, we find these little gems that 12 years old and it still rocks. It's still really good. And again, I can't, there was just so many little things that I was like, oh my God, this is scratching that same itch that Master and Commander did. I liked it. And I got to the end and immediately looked to see if there was a sequel to it. That was like the first thing I did after I finished it.
Well, because I was reading it on Kindle. So underneath it, it was like, would you like to read the next book? It's like, I'll put that in my wish list, but thank you for the suggestion.
Yes, please. I am excited, though, because our next book is another one of the Astra Militarum books.
And it is a new book.
That's new.
Yeah. And it seems like pretty interesting. New writer, I think, or at least new to us.
Yes. New to us, for sure. I don't know that we've read anything.
No.
Has this person written anymore? No, I don't think so. I think some short stories.
Yeah, I think that's how everybody does it. Is you got to do short stories first. But
actually, one of the first short stories was a Warhammer horror short story from their from the Resting Places anthology.
I loved that. I've actually loved all the horror anthologies, to be totally honest. Even when I accidentally read the Age of Sigmar stories.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, What is this? Oh, this must be Age of Sigmar. Well, I'm pretty invested now. I'm just going to finish reading it. But yeah.
That one is, oh, this person wrote the Pharisine Paradox. That's the one. Yeah, the deserted void ship.
Yes. That was great.
Oh, I'm excited about this one now.
Please do not be like Peter Fahavari and only write good short stories. Amen.
Please don't. Please don't. Please. There's also, what is that other? There's a new book coming out too, I thought, that we also saw. That's exciting. But we need more new books. We need Black Library. I'll take this one.
All I've seen is reprints lately.
I thought Void Scarred is coming up. Oh, it's an Eldari book.
Oh, well, pass.
We're going to read it because we need new books, for God's sake, woman.
I guess it's not Tau.
I was going to say, do you want to go back and read Tau books?
No.
We could read Tau books.
Can I just read Shadow Sword instead?
I mean, we could. We can definitely.
Or
we're going to have to.
There was another book that was highly recommended to us from the way back, the Enforcer trilogy or the Enforcer series.
Oh, yes. I have. I actually have the omnibus of that. That's the Shira Cal, something like that. The Matthew Ferrer did them. The cover is badass. She's like pointing a gun and holding her sword behind her. Yeah. I actually have that omnibus somewhere. Yeah. Somewhere in this basement of mine.
It's funny because I should have got it on eBay when I was first looking at it because they had it for like $30, and the next time I seen it, it's been $200. I'm like, oh my God. By the way, if anybody wants to laugh, why don't you go to eBay and look up Era of Ruin Limited Edition and see what you find.
I'm actually going to do that really quick here. Era of Ruin. Oh, wow. Some people have the hardcover, just the plain Jane hardcover going for more than $100.
Mm-hmm. No,
but I don't see the limited edition. I wonder if they made him take it down.
Is that one for $40,000 not up anymore?
As soon as you showed me that, I just thought of Warcraft 3. One of the dwarves, if you clicked on them enough, they would go, this Warhammer cost $40K. And so when you sent me that book, all I could think was, this book costs $40K. I don't see it on here if it is.
Oh my God, I should have put it in my watch list. Just to see what would happen.
I have to imagine that eBay was like, be serious.
I hope nobody bought it. That's my big fear. Like, please don't let anybody have bought that, because don't feed the trolls.
Oh yeah, the Era of Ruin hardcover is going for $110. That's a hardcover, for goodness sake. I don't know how I missed that one entirely.
Anyways. I can tell you exactly how. Because in their brilliance, they decided to sell that one at one time across all time zones.
So, for goodness sake.
So, because I'm insane, I actually did set my alarm for 3 a.m.
Damn, girl.
And I was on vacation. And it was me and a couple of people in the Discord. We were all chatting about this, and the site crashed. I know you're shocked.
Everyone is so shocked right now.
Like, the site completely crashed. And because, again, why would you have it just for that one time across the world? And by the time it was back up, none of the buttons worked. So you couldn't put anything in your cart at all.
And
I went back to sleep, woke up an hour later, and the site was still down. And apparently it was still down till about 10 o'clock in the morning, my time. And then when it came back up, the book was not even listed on there at all. Like, not even the hardback. So I was like, okay, did they just pull it and they're going to sell it another time? and then I've never seen it ever since. And
you can notify when available.
Yeah, whatever. So the crazy thing is that, of all of the Siege of Terra books, they all popped up on an eBay very quickly, the limited editions. This one, I've only seen it pop up twice now. The 40K one was the second time. The first one was $675, which is, Jesus.
Interesting.
No. So I'm actually wondering if not many people got them.
It wouldn't surprise me. It's... that one's a frustrating one. And I don't... How does the Black Library... let me rephrase that. How does Games Workshop not know that their site can handle about 12 people on it at any given time? I know this. You know it. The American people know it. Either invest in more servers or just slow roll it out.
I mean, the crazy thing is like, even when they slow roll it, like what they've done in the past, right? So they release it, at, you know what I mean? So Europe gets it at one time, USA gets it one time, Australia gets it one time. That's usually how I check what's going to be up for pre-order, is that Saturday morning.
Totally.
I sign into Australia to see what's up.
Same.
They, even when they do that and there's like new figures getting released, they have issues with the site. Or even, when the ADB Siege of Terra book, nobody could get into the site at all for that one for hours. And that was when they were slow rolling it. So I don't understand how dumb they can be to experience that with regular stuff and then decide, well, scheduling it at one time across the world was just fine. That'll totally work.
It'll totally work. Yeah, exactly. Like 2 people are going to want this book. Yeah, I had to look back and see because I couldn't remember.
Well, because it was not only the book. It was not only the book. It was one of the huge model sets was also getting released. That's the other problem.
Yeah. And again, how do we not know this? I know this. Sorry, now we're just
I really want to talk to their product management team.
Oh, you too? You think you want to?
Oh, yeah. I'm not a product manager, but just be like, I don't understand how you're bad at this. Or just send me to the user. Like you go deal with product management. I'll go deal with user experience. And
oh, I love it. Let's do it.
That's a plan. So on that note, you've listened to the Warhammer 40K book club episode. Since everyone's probably not caring about any of this discussion. You've listened to this episode regarding Baneblade by Guy Haley. Be sure to join us next time for Final Deployment by R.S. Wilt. We are an unofficial book club and not affiliated with the Black Library or any of its affiliates. You can find both the vidcast and podcast on our website, WH40kbookclub.com. If you like the episode, please like, subscribe, give a review, and all those things to the vidcast on YouTube, Spotify, or Rumble. Or the podcast anywhere you get podcasts. Jeez. And come join our Discord, as we've already said. This is how you can tell us what books to read. It's true. It happens. Even we're like, oh, we don't want to read that, like Firecast. And then we do, like, okay, that's pretty good.
And then we feel really dumb for having not read it in the past.
It's Peter Verhoeven's own fault for writing other shitty books. Our site also has articles about our adventures in reading other Warhammer 40K books and short stories outside of the book club books. So please stay well and read from a crack and apparently sniff a cat.
He's being rotten, so he had to go into air jail. Anyone who has cats understands. Sometimes you have to take away their leg privileges. It was Caiaphas Cain, everyone. Nothing most kissing him. Kiss your cat.
Not the hero of the Imperium, but just a crazy cat that Jen owns.
Kiss your hero of the Imperium.
Don't threaten me with a good time. I totally would do it.
And fight Amberly Vale? I don't think so.
I don't think she'd care. Just like one quick kiss on the cheek. She'd be fine with it. She knows who he's going home with. Please.
Okay, that's true. That is true.
With that, stay tuned for our future fan fiction. No, not really. Not really. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.